Hey, gorgeous. So when I was writing this list, the first thing that came to my mind was, girl, you wasn't very smart. No, ain't nobody tell me. Hindsight 2020. But thank goodness you are. That's why you're here, so that you don't make the same mistakes that I did. Or at least learn from them sooner. No, really, I knew a lot of stuff on this list, but in your 20s, we're young, we have so much time, we're having fun, so I didn't really give credence or give the credit that I should have to the things that are on this list. And some of them I didn't know. Some of it was just pure ignorance. So there's that too. And when I was in my 20s, it was a different time. We weren't privy to all the information that you are now with the internet. The only information or resource that you had was your immediate environment. Gosh, every time I talk about my 20s and growing up, I just feel so archaic. Like it just feels weird to think about. Like I don't feel that old, but then I feel like as I can't talk. Then I feel like as late millennials and Gen X era, we kind of came up in this gatekeep era where we had to learn everything the hard way or on our own. And then a lot of it is like we're first generation, like first generation getting education, first generation buying homes, doing all of these things for the first time. So we didn't have anyone to learn from. But we're changing that, which is part of the reason why I made this channel, because I want to share information. I am getting up there in age as a 44-year-old woman, and I've had a lot of life experience, and I don't want to gatekeep. If I have the knowledge to share and to help somebody, then I want to be able to do that. So if you're in your 20s and you've had some missteps, it's okay, girl. It's okay. You are still young. I know we're always talking about time. Life is short, but in the grand scheme of things, you're still 20, you still have time, and just think about it. Missteps are just those things that are going to build character, like I said, and just make you a stronger person and make you more appreciative. Like the things that I had to work the hardest for, and not everything, because there are some things that I've had to work hard for that I shouldn't have had to work hard for, and that's a whole other conversation. But a lot of the things that I had to work hard for and put effort into are the things that I appreciate the most. And just think, if you just floated through life and experienced no challenges or trials and tribulations, how would you be able to build personality, build strength? How would you be able to handle anything if everything just came at you easy? As everything with life, it has pros and cons. So anyway, before I continue to keep rambling on, let's jump right into it. So I've broken this list down into 10. I could have gone 20. I actually had 20. But I chopped it down to just 10 because I didn't want this video to run on forever. I didn't want it to be an hour, 2 hour long video. I was trying to keep it short and sweet as much as possible. It's a challenge for me because, sometimes I get to go in and talking and she just goes. But I did chop it down to 10 things, 10 that I felt at the moment. Girl has a right to change her mind, but 10 things at the moment that I felt were the most important to me that I wish I would have known in my 20s, now that I'm in my 40s. So the first one is to prioritize my health, mental and physical. I just have a greater appreciation now that I'm getting older for being able to have energy and be able to move my body and have all of my capacities. I wish I would have prioritized more my physical fitness, because in your 20s, you can lose weight easy. I used to go on little fad diets whenever I would put on a few pounds, and the weight would drop off fairly quickly. Like I could just cut calories and then get a little cardio in, and transformation. It's hard. Let me tell you, it is hard to lose weight in your 40s. One of the things I think about is if I would have been more serious about my physical health and not doing fad diets and did things that were more sustainable to keep me fit and in shape and energized when I was in my 20s, then it wouldn't be so hard for me now. Then also mental health. And I feel like that's a part because in my life, I've had a lot of trauma. Something I still go back and forth with, just how vulnerable I want to be. But I didn't know a lot about mental health. I knew that I had these traumas and these things that I went through from a child on up to an adult, and I didn't know how to process those things. All those traumas that I had affected so many different areas of my life that I didn't realize. Mental health is one of those things that I give grace to myself because I didn't know what I didn't know, but it's one of those things that I wish I knew more about and that I maybe prioritized and stretched myself a little bit more to figure it out when I didn't have things like the internet and everything that's going on now, where there's this big push for education around mental health and therapy and all those things. And then the second thing that I wish I knew in my 20s was to move in spite of fear. I just remember being in my 20s and having really big, lofty goals and big dreams, and not having support or people that believed in me when it came to realizing and setting goals to move towards those dreams. And then when I just think about what I could have been had I prioritized them in spite of what people thought, or if they supported me, if I just believed in myself, or even if I didn't believe in myself, just did the action anyway. Because sometimes, like, I'm a big proponent that the motivation and not being scared and not having anxiety doesn't just come naturally all the time. It's like a muscle that you have to work on and build for it to start to come to you naturally. So if you've grown up in this state of not working on that, then it's going to be even harder for you to tap into that. So it's one of those things that I've learned now that I'm older, to not wait for the anxiety to go away, not wait for the fear to go away, but to just do it anyway. And then the confidence in all of those things will come from the doing. So those things where it's like, it's okay to be weird. It's okay to be different. It's okay to have big dreams, and everybody around you is not going to understand, but do it anyway, pursue it anyway. It doesn't matter what they think. Everybody is not going to be fit to walk your path with you. And if they don't support you or believe in you, then maybe it wasn't meant for them to be a part of your life. And I just wish that I would have embraced my weird and my uniqueness, and instead of becoming a product of my environment, I wish I would have stepped outside of that and just been myself and went after the things that I really truly wanted and the things that truly make me happy. And the third thing that I wish I knew in my 20s was how to choose a sustainable career. I've had a lot of jobs. I had a lot of jobs in my 20s, and I felt like I was constantly on the hunt for the right job, the right fit, and I was contorting myself and to fit into this mold, to fit into these jobs that really weren't for me. And so at that time, the internet was just like coming on the scene. So we still had like a lack of information, a lack of opportunities. And most of the things that I wanted to do were creative. I mean, the internet, YouTube, and all that stuff has blown that wide open. But when I was coming up, it was such a gate-kept industry. It's like if you didn't know anyone, that you weren't getting in. You had to be discovered somehow, magically, mystically, or you had to know somebody. So, I mean, I didn't want to be like an actress or anything. I didn't want to be famous. That was never my dream, but I'm just more of a creative type of person. My very first dream was to be a fashion designer and to be a model. I just remember being like a little girl and playing with my Barbies and just thinking about how I wanted to be a model when I got older, and then parlay that into becoming a designer and having my own fashion house. But there was no blueprint. Like, I didn't know how to do that. I didn't even know how to become a model. All the modeling shows that were out, these people were just being discovered in happenstance on the streets of New York for being beautiful. And I wasn't in New York walking the streets, and I thought it was beautiful, but who knows? With the internet, you don't have to wait for somebody to discover you. I'm a model, posting pictures, I'm a model. So things have drastically changed from how they used to be in that sense. But back to the career stuff, I'm rambling again and going off track. But I wish I would known to not like contort myself into this mold to fit myself, this round person, into this square peg. And I wish I would have had the tools to find a job or a career that aligned more with my personality and my interests, something that I would have wanted to do long term, or at least something that I liked enough. I liked enough to sustain me and that paid well. I think like the three most important things is for it to be something that you love enough enough to get up every day and do it, and that pays well, and that it's in high demand, and that it has like an upward trajectory. AI and all of these new inventions, who knows a lot of these jobs if they're going to even still be around in the next 10, 20 years. So it's good to find something that has a strong presence and the demand is consistently getting higher. Then the fourth thing that I wish I knew in my 20s was just how beautiful I am, and not coming from like a vanity standpoint. Like, I feel like I'm an attractive woman. I guess just to tell a story, like, I was in a relationship when I was in my 20s with a person who didn't make me feel the best. It was really, a toxic relationship just wasn't the best situation for me to be in. And it really weighed down on my self-esteem. I already suffered with self-esteem issues because I just felt awkward as a young person. So it really just weighed on my self-esteem even more. Once I got out of that relationship and then I started dating other people, well, first of all, I did like some transformation. And I have videos. I don't know if they're going to be up at the same time as this video or if it's going to go up after, but I have like change your life videos and stuff like that. Reset, all of those things are the things that I did to transform my life after that relationship. And I had a glow up. I did things physically to change the way that I looked. I worked on myself internally. I wasn't like fully done with my journey. I was just like scratching the surface, but it did make a difference. Later on, the therapy and all that stuff came, but I did start working on the inside so that I stopped pulling my validation from what the outside looked like, and it came more from the inside. And once I cared more about myself on the inside, I was able to radiate that outward. So after the breakup, I had, my little glow up. I lost weight, changed my hair, start learn how to do your makeup and just start looking different. And then I set standards for myself. Like, I started dating, and I was dating a lot. And I was having a really good time, but I started dating a different caliber of men. Going from the relationship that I was in, where I was the one primarily putting in all the work, to dating other men who were taking me out on really nice dates, and it's flowers on every date, it's opening car doors, it's doing all of these things. It was just a big confidence boost, and it made me feel like this is what I was missing out on the whole time. Like, I was just really selling myself short. That's how it felt. Like, this is what I could have had, all the time. So going back to this internally, when I realized just that I'm beautiful, flaws and all, I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but there's somebody for everybody. And there's somebody out there who will love me with all my quirks, with all my flaws and everything. The beautiful thing about all of us is that there's no one like you. There's doppelgangers, but there's no one exactly like you. There's no one that thinks like me. There's no one that looks exactly like me. There's no one that's had exactly the same experience. We're all unique in that way. And that's the thing that makes us beautiful. So my advice, if you have any soul suckers around you that are weighing down your self-esteem, just kick them to the curb. Move on, girl. Then the next important thing that I wish I knew in my 20s, hindsight 2020, now that I'm in my 40s, was to not be a hardhead. Yeah, I was very hard-headed. The one thing I wish that I knew was to learn the first time. It's like what Maya Angelou said, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. And then I had to learn the hard way that my current reality is a result of the action or inaction that I took yesterday. So when that finally, drilled into my skull, it made me take advantage of each day and not take each day for granted, because we're not promised tomorrow. So that was like really important for me to put on this list, is just to learn the first time, learn the hard lessons while you're young in your 20s, and don't take those mistakes into your next phase of life. Learn the mistakes in your 20s so that your 30s and your 40s are much stronger and comfortable, because a lot of times people make mistakes in their 20s and that stuff catches up to you in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and it can make that period of your life really, really hard. So if you can learn the lesson in your 20s, learn it, leave it in your 20s, and move on. That brings us to the sixth thing that I wish I knew in my 20s, and that is what is love and how to choose the right partner. And let me tell you, if you don't take away anything else from this video, take this one, because it can flow into other areas of your life. It can permeate your whole being. And I didn't give weight to how important this thing is because the wrong person and not really knowing what love is, it ruins lives. When I was younger in my 20s, I was a hopeless romantic. My head was well. I just had that state of mind that love will fix everything. Love is all you need. But as I got older, I had to remove the rose-colored shades and I had to learn the hard way that love is not enough. I had to learn that compatibility and alignment are huge, like they're pivotal. The biggest thing that I had to learn was the difference between love and lust. And when you're young and you think that you're in love, the lines are so blurred. It is when I just think about like how my mind processed things and what I was thinking in my 20s, it's wild when you get into your 40s and you like reflect back. And you really just have to make sure that the person that, you're spending your time with, that you're aligned on your goals, your morals, the lifestyle that you want, and the type of partnership that you want together. It can't be one-sided. Those 4 areas, they have to be ironclad with a person in order for you to have longevity with them. I had to learn the hard way that love is not a feeling. And, TV, movies, romance novels, and all of these things will make you think that that's what love is about. And it really isn't. It's really a commitment. The feeling can be part of it. You can't have all the other things, the commitment and the dedication to a person, and waking up and seeing their face every day and not love something about them. So that's definitely is key, and also being attracted. But the attractiveness is not the only thing. Attraction can be strong. I mean, wars have been started over attraction. So once you figure out what's the difference between lust and attraction and true love, then it's a game changer. Attraction can be out of this world. It feels amazing when you find somebody that you're attracted to, especially if you're like me, where you're not attracted to that many people. So when you are, it's like, wow. But there has to be more to it than that, because attraction alone is not going to sustain those hard times. It's not going to sustain raising children. It's not going to sustain financial troubles. It's not going to sustain life-changing events. That's not the thing that long-lasting love is built on. So the sooner you learn the difference between the two, I'll promise you, the better off you'll be in relationships. Then on to our 7th thing that I wish I knew in my 20s, now that I'm in my 40s, is that patience is a virtue. I am the queen of being impatient. I don't like to wait for anything. I want everything right now, instant gratification. I am that girl. I am guilty. But the problem with that is that with me having such a lack of patience, I had a hard time sticking through things. And part of that is because I'm ADHD and I didn't learn that until late in life. So that affects just the way I think and process and go about life. But I have to work on my patience. Like, it's something I have to work on every day, and just with my consistency and being diligent, because I'm blocking my own blessings by not being patient. You never know when that opportunity could be right around that door. It could be just that one more step that you need to make, but you're missing out on it because you've quit. And you quit because you didn't get that instant gratification and you feel like, oh, it's not working out quick enough. So you don't continue to put that energy towards the thing, whatever it is. I just remember, like, when I was younger, when I used to go to church, and you know how you wear like your nylons, but I would wear those nylons also when I went to the club. And Spanx weren't even shapewear, Spanx, all of that stuff wasn't even invented like that. I would always tell people, like, how I would smooth things out and what I wore under my dresses. And I just didn't see it through. It's like I had this idea. It was the thing that I was already doing. I was already cutting my stockings and making shapewear, and I just think about what could have been had I had patience and pursued that, or this versus just letting it be a fleeting idea. And I had to learn too that God brings these ideas to us, and it's on us to pay attention to them. I've gotten ideas a million times over throughout my life, and then I've seen them come to fruition through somebody else. And the idea doesn't stay with you. It's like energy. It flows and moves. If you're not going to do something about it, somebody else will. Having that patience just to sit down and do things and see things through is something that I'm still working on today. So if that's something that you can get in your 20s, it'll make your 30s and 40s and beyond so much easier. Okay, so then my next thing that I wish I knew in my 20s, number 8, was to not believe what people say, but believe what they show you. Because when I just look back at my 20s, I was gullible. I was gullible as hell. But if you can master in your 20s paying attention to that gut feeling that you get inside, that this don't fit right, this ain't sitting right with me. If you can really master paying attention to that, it will save you a world of heartache later. And then also reading those nonverbal cues. And it's something like that I've always had. Sometimes I think I might be empathetic, but I've always been able to read people's energy and those context clues that, I don't know, some people just seem really oblivious and, I don't know, tone deaf to certain things. And it's like, I don't know, I can see it. And I was like, is it me? Like, am I just different because I can see it? Or is it that these people are just not paying attention? I don't know. That's a whole other thing. But if you can pay attention to those things, like I said, it'll make your life a whole lot easier. And just realizing, stepping out of your ego, like you can't change people. People are going to be who they are. So that's also part of just trusting what they show you. It's like a love bomber. They're going to tell you everything that you want to hear and make you feel good. But are they actually delivering on those actions and for a sustained amount of time? Some people can put up a front, but fronts usually can't be held up for a long extended amount of time. So if you just pay attention and give things time, then a person is going to show you their true colors. Number 9 is just to cherish every moment. We're in such a fast-paced society where everything's just moving fast. It's hustle, hustle, grind, grind. And we'll tend to overlook, those small wins. It's good to just sit in that and appreciate those small wins, appreciate those relationships. Because as you get older, you will lose things. Life will change. You will lose people. Once a person is lost from your life permanently, it's time that you can't get back. And you never want to get older having regrets and all the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. I wish that I would have had. If there's anything consistent in this world, is that there will be change. So just be still sometimes. Be still and just cherish every moment. Hold your loved ones tight and just really cherish them. And then the last thing that I wish I knew in my 20s that I know now in my 40s, that life does not end after 30. I just remember in my 20s feeling like there were all these milestones and things that I needed to hit. I felt like I needed to have the right career, I had to have the right man, I had to have the right home. All of these things that I thought validated me as a person. And then when I didn't obtain them, I felt like something was wrong with me, like I was a failure in life. That's hard on yourself, and it's just not the type of way that you want to talk to yourself and feel about yourself, because it's a deep spiral into anxiety and depression and a host of other issues. And I didn't take stock of like all the amazing things that can happen in your second stretch of life. And many people are late bloomers. Like some people, you're not going to have everything early on in life. And I consider myself a late bloomer. I didn't come into having a more successful career, having a bigger home, and earning 6 figures and all that stuff until I was a little bit older. I had to remind myself that it's not a sprint. It's a journey, and my journey is just different than somebody else's. And just looking at some of the people who have had great success and great lives later on in life. I went through and I actually looked it up because I wanted to give you guys examples. But Martha Stewart, Joy Behar, Vera Wang, Samuel Jackson, Viola Davis, Ava DuVernay, Julia Child, Stan Lee, Toni Morrison, J.R.R. Tolkien, and J.K. Rowling. Some of us just need a little bit more seasoning before it gets good. So give yourself some grace. You could be, that person. You may be in your 20s and maybe approaching 30 and haven't obtained all these goals and these things that you think that you should have had. You never know. It could just be all of your blessings and everything that you desire is waiting for you in the second half. I feel like there's something to that, because sometimes some of us, if we get things too early, then we don't fully appreciate it. Now, when I just look at hindsight 2020 at the stage that I am now at 44, all those things that just seemed like so big and so important, and the most important thing in my life, don't even matter now. So I hope this helps somebody out, child. Whew, the hard lessons. Well, comment below and let me know if there's anything that you recognize that you're struggling with learning hard. And yeah, if you guys like this type of content, let me know in the comments as well, because I wanna help. Like, I feel like that's my purpose and that's my calling. right now, but I want to give things that are beneficial and that are going to be helpful and valuable to you. And thank you for watching. Bye.